Hello, good evening and welcome back to TTTV. It is Thursday evening, which can mean only one thing. It is time for TTL F1. It's season 14, round number 5, coming to you from the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. It is, of course, the Canadian Grand Prix. My name is Andy Campbell, solo boy running here tonight. No Kieran this evening. He's had to disappear for this evening. We hope to have him back next week. I hope everything is well with you, Kieran, if you are watching along. So I'll do my best to keep up with everything as much as I possibly can. We're just getting ready to drop into the session for the usual scenario. It's an 18-minute short qualifying session followed by a 50% race, which, if maths isn't failing me, which it usually does, would be a 35 lap race around this 2.7 miles circuit. Well, we've got a few in the chat. We've got Alan Kay saying evening, Ironics, who's the championship leader, saying hey as well, and Maze, of course, dropping in there as usual with the checkered flag. Seems to like that flag, so he does. Running that one up the flag pole. You can see there in the picture to the right hand side, you can see the lake. That's where they held the rowing when the Olympics was held in Montreal. I think that was 1978. If I remember rightly. I can't quite remember my Olympic years at the moment, unfortunately. Ivan Brito in the chat saying hey as well. Hello to you. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. We've already got a few people watching the stream. It will be great to see that come up even more. There's Daniel Leal saying hey as well as Thomas Letty too. So we've got fantastic. We've got 9 people already in for this early stages here tonight, and we hope you stick along for the rest of the evening. Wilco saying go Dave. So we've already got people shouting out for their favourite drivers. 16 drivers here this evening, so brilliant turnout here tonight. Now going through your championship standings while we wait on some of the drivers coming out, as Maze and both Alan Kay as well also mentioned that it is going to be dry throughout proceedings tonight, so no need to worry about the green marked intermediates or the blue marked wet tyres like they had to do at Hockenheim on Sunday. And if you haven't watched that race, what rock have you been living under, is all I need to say. Championship standings though, Ironics leads the way at the top of the standings, and no surprises really when you consider that he's had 2 victories and a second place in the first 3 rounds of the season. He's on 69 points. Spike is in second on 55 points. Won last week with a fantastic alternate strategy, running on the mediums before, running on the hards before going to the medium tyres. So he made that work really, really well, kept some fantastic pace through the evening. White is next up on 34. Best result is second in China. He had a 3rd place last week as well, despite starting on the pole position. And he's not here this evening. In fact, there's no Red Bull cars out there at all tonight. So that is going to be an interesting one in the constructors, and it's a chance for Spike and Lyronics to disappear away from the rest of the pack. It's also a chance for Sean, who's next up in 4th on 26 points with 2 4th place finishes in Australia and last week in Spain, to try and close the gap, maybe overtake the Red Bull driver as well. Jack, your defending champion from season 13, is on 16 points. He's had a DNF in Australia. He did not start last week, so the defending champion is back here this evening on 16 points. TTG Navy on 15 again. That is someone who, in fact no, he is here tonight, sorry, it's Lyronics, his teammate. He's on 15 points. Alan Kay on 12 points. Then it's Maze on 10, having picked up his first points last week at Catalonia with a 5th place, and a fantastic result that was. It's Crazy and Graham tied on 8 points, both for the best finish of 6th place. Chat is going a little bit mental. Alan Kay has mentioned it could be a wet end to qualifying as well, so likely we will see a lot of drivers out in the early stages. Looks like we're getting a lot of shouts here for Fate Benfica, who is in the Renault. There he is in the number 21 machine. He's getting plenty of support in the chat here this evening. Do stick around, guys, and we'll see just how well the Portuguese driver can do here this evening. Getting a few already getting a few laps on the board. Yellow flag in sector 3 has disappeared. Just trying to find someone coming towards the end of a lap just now so that we can jump on board as Fate decides to retire from the session. So there's a yellow flag, sector 2-3. I wonder, because we just seen him there as well. Let's have a look through the cars. We've got another car off Gypsy George just off the track there. Just going to run our way through the cars, see if we can find, you can see rain already falling on the screen. Yellow flag's now sector 3, so Fate Benfica already out of the session, and that is definitely not what he would have been looking for coming into tonight's proceedings. So he is going to have to start from the back of the field. Yellow flag's in sector 1 as cars stay out of the way. Let's try and find a car about to start a lap, and let's take you for a run around the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve here in Montreal. Who is on an out lap? Nexus Iceman Jack, he is on his out lap, so we'll jump on board with him coming into the chicane for the final couple of turns. Turn 13 and 14, miss the wall of champions. DRS is wide open down the front straight, and here we go to start a flying lap here in Canada. Down into turn 1, use the extra bit of tarmac there as your braking reference, down to third gear and chuck it down to first. Some drivers quickly go up to second short shift, and you can see Jack doing exactly that. Iceman, sorry, I'm so used to calling him Jack. As he comes into turn 3, chuck it, use it as much curb as you dare without getting a penalty. Through turns 5 and 6, then up to turn 7. Tricky little corner this, you want to take a bit of curb on the inside. Nice and easy on the power on the way out through 7. DRS wide open one more time for the second time in the lap as we come down towards turn 8. Just under the bridge is your braking point, down to fourth gear. Use the curb on the inside on both sides of the corner. Bit of a tank slapper on the way out there for Iceman as he heads up now towards the turn 10 hairpin. We're going to see plenty overtaking here. 100 metres on the brakes. Down to first gear goes the Williams driver. He's going to slowly bring it back up to speed now as he comes down the back straight. That was turn 11. This curve here is technically turn 12. DRS open for the third and final time on this lap. And watch for the bump here just before the braking zone. There it is, just as you get before you hit the brakes. Use as much curb as you can where it invalidating, just miss the wall of champions. DRS open again, across the line, and it is a 1 minute 11.9 for Iceman. So it's a pretty decent lap time, but you can see at the top of the standings, Spike in the Mercedes, already back into pit lane, a 1 minute 10.0, 5 tenths clear of anyone else. It's Lyronix in second, Jack, the other Mercedes, up to third, so Mercedes get a 1-3 at the moment, and Jack has set his time on the medium tyres, which could prove very useful strategy-wise going into the race itself. A lot of cars back into pit lane now. Lighty is in 4th, Sean in 5th, Crazy Leg 6th, and it's Graham in 7th. Iceman, that we just watched, in 8th, Yuzi's in 9th. T-Raw in the pits in 10th position. Now this is a returning driver to the series, T-Raw. He was previously part of TTL. He was a Constructors Champion in Season 6, finished 5th in the Drivers' Championship in Season 8 and 4th in Season 9, and it's fantastic to have him back along here. He's in the McLaren here tonight, and he's in 10th position at the moment. Maze there in 11th position. Alan Kay is in 12th. George in 13th in the second Williams. The Gort in the Renault is in 14th. Fate Benfica out of the session already in 15th. Don't catch anything on screen as to what happened to the Portuguese driver, but there was yellow flags in sector 2 and 3 after watching him on his out lap, so I do get the feeling he may have dropped it somewhere through the lap. Excuse me. Which is unfortunate, so he'll be starting from the back. And Navy, TTG Navy in the Racing Point car, currently 16th, but he's not set a lap yet, and apart from Fate Benfica, he is the only driver not to have set a lap here just now. And you can see in the chat, Lyronix saying Spike has the pole, it is getting too wet already, and yet Navy is only just now out on track on a set of super soft tyres. There's a few drivers out there at the moment. The Gort is now pitted, Sean's on an out lap, and Spike and Jack are currently out on track as well. In fact, Jack done his best lap on the hard tyres. I thought he'd done it on the mediums. I had it on the wrong setting there. So that's an even better lap time from the defending champ there, to be 7 tenths down but on the hard compound. That's going to play very good into his hands when it comes to the race, because it is a dry race for this evening's proceedings. Navy we're watching just now coming through to the end of sector 1, start of sector 2. He's got a Mercedes up ahead of him, and we'll see just how much he's struggling with these wet conditions now. Down to 4th gear through the chicane, you can see the car just wanting to step out there on the exit ever so slightly, just have to balance the throttle very carefully onto the brakes into turn 10. You can see Lyronix and Well, yeah, that's a Mercedes and a Racing Point that are about to make a baby. They both have a Mercedes engine, so it should still be within the family. Down the back straight though with DRS, Lyronix is going to give his teammate a bit of a tow here, up to 200 miles an hour for Navy, into the chicane just after that bump there. That's caught me out a few times trying to get the braking right. Cross the line we go, but you can see how much of a struggle it is, because that's a 1 minute 16.0. That's just how greasy it is out there on the track just now. Spike has came back into pit lane, so he's decided he's had enough. Lyronix is still out on track at the moment, and he's binned it. He's binned it in turn 2 as well, so he's lost the back end out of turn 2. It's going to be seeing him back to pit lane before long. You can see Jack is drifting that Mercedes through towards turns 3 and 4, so very tricky conditions out there right now for the drivers. And oh, the Mercedes nearly in the wall, and I get the feeling he's going to be heading for pit lane. He's drifting his way around, and there we go into the wall, trying to get the power back down. Alan Kay's retired from the session. Spike's decided to give it a wee go on the intermediate tyres. He's put them on just now as Jack does his best impressions for a 3-point turn in the middle of the track. But he does have the advantage when we get to the race, because he is on the hard tyres. Don't expect anyone to improve over the last 8 and a bit minutes, and if everyone's clever enough, they'll all retire from the session so we can start the race quicker. That's what you'd hope for anyway. I am noticing the chat going off. Unfortunately, I don't speak Portuguese, so I cannot translate that at all, my friends, but really appreciate you joining us here this evening. We're looking forward to some really good races. We watch the defending champ do a bit of drifting around the track, and he's now lost his front wing, so it's going to be a couple of $100,000 to Mercedes. A couple of new rear wheels will be needed in that one as well, because those tyres will be well past their sell-by date after he has got round and finished this one. There is Spike out on the track on the intermediate tyres. Now obviously he's not going to improve in that 1 minute 10. He's just having a bit of fun here as Jack and Lyronix both retire from the session. I expect to see quite a few drivers now will drop through the session. Spike just about losing it on the way out there. Nexus Cats, how does he manage to spin it there? Well, he was drifting pretty much around the entire lap if we're talking about TTG Jack, so that would be how he's managed to spin it there. He was just drifting everywhere. There is the Mercedes, in fact. There you go. Teammate goes by. He was just doing a Tokyo drift the whole way around, so the carcass and those tyres would have been overheating like someone had left the oven on. I say that because I'd done that with my dinner tonight. Here is Spike going through. Let's see what's his outlap, and he's thumped the wall there. YT's retired. Any damage to that Mercedes? Yep, inside. If you look on the right hand side of the car, that end fence is missing as one of the Ferraris heads out of pit lane, and that is Sean, who's out on the intermediate tyres as well, just to have a little bit of a trek, and gets in front of Spike, who's just started a quick lap. So I know he was sliding about there with Spike, but that's a bit interesting. Ferrari getting in the way and really holding Spike up there. It's a good job this isn't a fully wet qualifying session, because I get the feeling the Mercedes driver would be a bit peed off about that one, but with pole position pretty much in the bag, this is just exploratory laps going on here at the moment. Daniel Leal, commentator que neo pepasa Portuguese. No, I do not speak Portuguese is what I think that is saying, and I'll probably just butchered your language, so I do really apologise for that. Only, what's that, 6 drivers left in the session. The majority of drivers have now retired as we look at the provisional pole sitter coming round on the intermediates, and you can see already coming up to a minute 10 right now, so he's already slower than the lap time. Let's just see what the difference is between a wet and a dry lap time here, because we've got that advantage to see that. So it's at least 10 seconds in comparison. Obviously there's a bit of front wing missing there for the Mercedes as well, so that wouldn't have helped, but yeah, nobody's going to be improving at this point. They're just enjoying themselves out in the pouring rain. There's Sean out. Mays is now retired from the session, down to 5 drivers. Graham's in the pits. Navy is on track as well in the intermediate tyres. Be interested to see if he can try and improve. He's 6 seconds down nearly at the moment from his first time due to getting out on the track late. Be interested to see if he can get close to that on the intermediates. That would be an interesting one to watch. So we will have a look here at the Portuguese, I'm too busy looking at the chat again, at the Racing Point driver one more time. Obviously they had a great result in Germany in real life on Sunday there, with Lance Stroll getting P4 at the Hockenheim ring. From topsy-turvy race, one of the best races I've watched for an awful long time. In fact, I think the last time I enjoyed a race as much as that had wet conditions was right here, 2011. I think we all remember Jenson Button having to take 6 treks through pit lane, including a penalty and a puncture. And there, that was a race where he collided with his teammate Lewis Hamilton, remember. So 4 minutes to go. Let's see what Navy can do. He's not going to improve on his times, he's already down. Sean's retired from the session now, and Navy goes across the line. It's a 19.1, so he's 3 seconds off his best time. It just shows you that the conditions now are just far too wet. Everybody except for Navy is in pit lane, and I would expect to probably see everyone retire from the session before much longer, which would then allow... there goes Graham retiring from the session. Because normally then, if everybody retires, Navy retires now, so we're down to 2 drivers, and I expect to see Crazy and Spike retire as well, and it should mean that the session will end early. Not Crazy Legs has decided he wants to go to pit lane and have a bit of fun before the end of the session in the 46 Haas car. So 3 and a bit minutes to go, but the race is going to be dry, and we're going to have an interesting scenario coming up in a moment's time. So is Crazy. The only driver out on track at the moment is Crazy Legs in the Haas. And again, he's not going to be improving on his time. 1.6 seconds down on pole when he did his dry lap. He's on the medium tyres, so since there's not going to be much going on here, let's go through what is going to be your grid. And let's have a look at the tyres that people are going to be on as well. So you got Spike there at the top there on pole position. He's going to be on the soft compound tyres. Lyronix is going to be second. He's also on the soft compound tyres as well. Jack in third on the hard compound, and that's a big difference there for the Mercedes driver. So if he can keep up in the early stages, he's going to have a fantastic strategy option available to him later on into the race. Light E in fourth, he's on soft compound. Sean and Crazy Legs, who we're watching just now, they're both on the medium compound tyres for the start of the race. Graham, Nexus, Iceman, Yuzi and T-Raw will all be on the soft tyres. Maze, Alan, K done their best laps in soft, but they'll get fresh choice for the start of the race. George done his on mediums, the God on the hard tyres, Navy on the softs, and Fate Benfica didn't manage to set a lap time. So we've got a minute 38 to go. We're nearly at the end of the session now. And there's one bit I didn't do. I want to check. Yeah, there we go. So it's the 3 softest compounds of dry tyres that we have available. The hards are the C3, the mediums are the C4, and the red soft tyres are the C5 compound. So we've got the softest compounds available to us here this evening, and you can see that Spike has decided to head back out for a quick exploratory lap before the end of the session. We're into the final minute now, and Lyronix noticing that the Portuguese army is out for Fate Benfica tonight. They are indeed, but their boy is going to have to come from the very back of the grid. He's going to have to do a Sebastian Vettel from Germany at the weekend, going from 20th to 2nd. He's going to have to come from the back to try and get any points here this evening. It could be, with the walls being very close and this sort of mini street circuit almost, that sticking around and staying in the race, even if you do have some problems early doors, might be the best scenario for you, because if drivers drop out ahead, you could very quickly end up in the top 10 and pick up some points here this evening. So hopefully the drivers will be taking that into mind, because there's always a very good chance of them that happening when you're on a track like this here in Montreal. 10 seconds to go. Crazy Legs is back into pit lane. Spike is just heading across the line now. He is going to be your pole sitter tonight for the race. There's the checkered flag out. Crazy Legs has finished, and as soon as Spike has finished this lap or decided to quit to pit lane and retire from the session, we will be getting ready to start the Canadian Grand Prix here. It's TTTV. If you haven't already done so, do hit the subscribe button. Join the 272 others that have already subscribed to the channel, as Spike gets it all wrong through turns 5, and that is into the wall. And that's another damaged Mercedes and another front wing missing. And there he goes, retires from the session, and we now have the end of qualifying. But as I was saying, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to be notified anytime we go live here on TTTV. Got racing going on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and soon to be again Saturday evening in the next couple of weeks. But there is your lineup. Spike on pole, well, 1 minute 10.05, nearly 6 tenths clear of anyone else. A phenomenal lap time very early into the session from Lyronix in second, Jack in third. It's Lighty in fourth, Sean fifth in the Ferrari, Crazy Legs in sixth for Haas. They're two on the medium tyres, Jack, as I say, on the hard tyres. And in seventh place you had Graham, Iceman, Easy and T-Raw rounding out the top 10. So they'll all be starting on the tyres they qualified on. The others outside of the top 10 will have free choice of what tyre they wish to go on. And as you can see, the track's looking an awful lot drier now than what it was during the qualifying session. You can see the Ferrari garage there, and the mechanics seem to be quite happy sitting there as their cars get to the grid, so they've obviously not got much to do. In the chat though, I would want to hear, who is your prediction for victory here tonight? Spike on pole position, he got that lap in half a second clear. Did he get it in just before the worst of the weather, or is that his genuine pace over the rest of the field? Lyronix has scored a podium at all 3 rounds so far, 2 victories and a second place last week in Catalonia. Can't rule out your championship leader. Sean's obviously got some pace as well with 2 P4s already. Jack is the defending champion. He's missed the race. He had a DNF in Australia and a 3rd place in China. You can never rule out the Mercedes driver. And obviously I know quite a lot of you in the chat will be shouting for Fate Benfica to come through from the back of the field. Let's have a look at who's on what tyres, as Spike takes a bit of time to get moving off the grid, so that's not too good. So top 10 on the tyres he qualified on. Ones to look out for will be of course Jack on the medium tyres, who's still on the grid. It's a strange one, as is Lai T, and Sean and Crazy Legs on the medium. Outside of the top 10, Maze is on the hard compound tyres, Alan Key's on the mediums, George is on the soft, the Gort and the Renault is on the hard compound, Navy on the medium tyres in the Racing Point, and Fate Benfica is on the hard tyres as well. James in the chat there, have a great race everyone. Sorry I can't be joining Andy in the commentary box, currently on a date night. Yet you're on a date night and yet here you are, you're messaging us. But you know what, we appreciate the support. Thanks for joining in, my friend. I think you're quite lucky as well, because I think your partner's a bit of a race fan as well, if I remember looking at your Twitter, but there you go. So, who are you thinking is going to be first across the line in 35 laps time? It's a tricky one. If I was going to make a prediction, I mean, Spike's definitely got to be up there. He's obviously pole position, of course, he's in the best place. Lyronix has been extremely quick through the first 3 races with podiums all round, so can't rule him out. Jack, of course, defending champion, still sitting on the grid somehow. He's pretty quick as well. I hope those 2 on the grid aren't a problem. I hope they're not going to cause any issues, or they've got connection issues. That would be such a shame for them, especially for Jack on the hard tyre. It's going to be a really interesting race so here tonight. Racing Point are leading the constructors on 84 points, Mercedes on 71, then a big gap to everyone else. Ferrari on 36, Red Bull on 34, McLaren on 26, Toro Rosso and Alfa Romeo on 12, Haas on 8, Williams on 6 and Renault are just the 1 point so far this season. So can the Gort and Fate Benfica finally get them into a points paying position? We've got the long camera shot here. There we go, it's a much better one. Waiting for the 5 red lights. The Canadian Grand Prix for round number 4 is underway. And what the start's like here, it looks like the pole sitter's got a pretty decent start. Jack's got a bit bogged down, he's been challenged by Sean into turn number 1, and the Ferrari dives up the inside and steals third place very quickly. And we've got carnage in the background. That's Navy going through. No, it's not, sorry, it's one of the cars, it's a Toro Rosso. It's Yuzi off the track there already, having spun through turn 1 as they come up through towards turns 3 and 4. The McLaren there catching the grass. That is T-Row on his return, and it's lost him track position to the Haas and the Racing Point and Navy. They're going side by side through turn number 6 and 7, and the Racing Point comes out on top on that one at the moment. Up front, Spike leads, Lyronic second, Sean is in third, it's Jack in fourth. Navy and Crazy Legs now having a bit of a battle as Navy sticks it up the inside on the Haas driver and steals a place that I wasn't expecting him to take there. Here comes Nexus Iceman, he's in 7th place at the moment, onto the back of Light-E. You can see he's lost a couple of places off the start, but nothing doing there at the moment. Back up front, Lyronics chasing down the Mercedes off Spike up ahead, coming into the chicane for the first time. Nice and easy through they go, and Spike's got a bit of a tank slapper. The German's going to have a great run coming through towards turn number 1. Let's see, there we go, much better angle. He goes to the outside line, but no, the Mercedes has got the better angle and keeps the position. But you can see much better run there for Lyronics on the exit. Meanwhile, T-Row managed to get himself up the inside of Crazy Legs as the Haas is going backwards at a vast rate of knots, down 4 places in the first lap. Your biggest gainer is the Racing Point of Navy, up 7 places from his starting position and flying through the field right onto the back. Oh, nearly completely glued to the back there of Iceman. And of course Navy is on medium compound tyres as well, compared to that Williams which is on the soft. Here goes the Racing Point, looking extremely quick here in the opening stages, and that's another position for Navy as he moves himself into 7th place already with a nice little move on the Williams of Iceman coming through turns 8 and 9. Down the field, Crazy Legs, as I say, has already lost 4 places. Yuzi is down 6, having spun through turn 1, but he's already made a place back up on George, and he's now onto the back of the Ferrari of Mays as well as he come down the back straight. We're going to stick with these guys just now. Here comes Yuzi going to the outside. Mays is going to squeeze him. He didn't move too far, there was nothing wrong with that one. He just kept the line and kept it going, and Yuzi just had to back out. Goes up the inside line, contact, no, there's not. He had to go across the chicane, no, tight line, and it's going to carry on as it was for now. Can the Toro Rosso get past the Ferrari? He's going to switch to the inside line. That's a late braking move. He's gone wide into turn 2. No contact here, just a little bit, but thankfully no spinning from any of the drivers, and Yuzi now having to defend off from George. He'll try again to mount an attack shortly. Meanwhile, back up front, Spike has held the lead over Lyronics. It's about 7/10 of a second. Sean is out of DRS range now, down in 3rd, and the DRS is now enabled. Remember, Yuzi with a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings already. It's only lap 3. That's got to be a bit of a record. Navy's just made himself up to 6th place now, getting ahead of Graham. So that Racing Point on the medium tyres is absolutely flying in these early stages. Graham now's got to defend though, because he's got George behind him as well. Iceman behind him as well as T-Row. Crazy Legs trying to hold on to them as well. Let's have a look from the back here off the McLaren as Iceman goes to the outside into the chicane. Is he going to swoop round? Oh, that's a lovely little move there from the Williams. Nicely done. Graham gave him the space. Well, it was a beautiful move there. Now T-Row got a chance to go up the inside into turn 1. Wheel to wheel. There's a little bit of contact there. Forces the Toro Rosso onto the grass. They're still side by side through turn 2, but the McLaren's got the move done. That was a lovely move though by Iceman into the final chicane round the outside, and he's got that move done. Where can you find the league standings, says Bruno Pinto? I mentioned them during qualifying, but if you want to actually see them, you can usually find them on Twitter if you just follow the league at TTL_F1, and while you're there, give me a follow as well. It's at Andy81287. So that's where you'll find them there, but your leader is Lyronix in the championship from Spike. So these two at the front are your championship leaders, but in the other direction, Lyronix leads the championship and Spike is in second. White is in third, but he's not here this evening. Then it's Sean and Jack rounding out the top 5. Speaking of Sean and Jack, that Mercedes is getting a bit close to the back of that Ferrari, and that Racing Point's getting back pretty close to the back of that Mercedes, the Racing Point there. You know, Jack's got a great run out of the final corner. He's got DRS to help him down towards turn number 1. Can he get the move done? It's a nice little move. Sean gives him the space, and Jack's got himself up into P3. Nice move there. Remember, he's on the hard compound tyres as well, so he's going to go long into this race. He wants to try and stay as close as he can to the two up front. Lyronix was closing up under DRS. He's going to have another helping off it here down the back straight, but I don't think he's going to have enough to be able to do anything into turn 8 and 9. It's not the biggest braking zone under the bridge. You go from 190 down to about 90, so you lose 100 miles an hour, but it's not the biggest braking zone in that sense, because you can do that from about 75 metres away. We'll see what goes on. Going down the field, because the midfield battle, as always, is pretty tight. Now, Navy's not been able to get clear at Iceman and T-Raw, so these three are running pretty close together, as Maze and George are having a battle down at the back. Remember, Maze is on the hard compound tyres, and he's came out on top of that one at the moment on the Williams driver. Meanwhile, back to these guys here. This is 6th, 7th and 8th, and Iceman's in a great position to try and steal that place back from Navy, who's came through the field, made up a bucket load of places, 9 places already from his starting position, so he's really doing good at the moment. Started in 15th, now already up to 6th place on those medium compound tyres. There's nothing the Williams can do at the moment, and we're already on to lap 6 of 35 down the field. Meanwhile, Graham has managed to get through, coming out of turn number 2 on Crazy Legs. The Gort has been fighting as well with Alan Kay. The Toro Rosso coming out on top on the Haas, and the Renault comes out on top against the Alpha, who then picks up a 3-second time penalty. So penalties are already building up. Oh, contact, we just caught the end of that there. Graham has held on to it somehow. Is there wing damage to that Toro Rosso? It's hard to see. Meanwhile, here comes Fate Benfica around the outside to please the Portuguese fans, but not able to do anything just now. We jump on board with the Renault. He's got a great run coming up to the hairpin, but he's going to have to go the long way round. Can he make the move stick? He turned. But contact there as Graham came in. He came across the Toro Rosso, but the Portuguese driver takes over the final points position at the moment, and he is up into P10. Meanwhile, Lyronix is into pit lane already, so the first pit stop is for your championship leader out of P2, changes onto the medium compound tyre, and he's going to rejoin. There's a Williams in pit lane as well. That's Iceman, so he's decided he wants to get off these medium tyres that he was moved on to now, so he's now underway as well. Lyronix just came out in 11th place, just ahead of Alan Kay. Meanwhile, Iceman is going to come out in 14th place, as Easy has also came into pit lane, and he's going for the hard compound tyre, so he's going to try and get them to the end of this race. Meanwhile, Navy and T-Raw, who have carried on now that Iceman's gone into the pits, have closed up to the back of Lighty and the other McLaren, so it's a Racing Point filler and a McLaren sandwich at the moment. You've got to fancy, Navy looks good round here, and on those medium tyres he's looking pretty handy indeed. The Gort, meanwhile, oh look at this, the Gort and Graham having a bit of a scrap. You can also see there's Lyronix going to go up the inside on the Toro Rosso. He's going to lose a couple of places there, and now Lyronix is going to see if he can draft his way past on the Gort and get himself back up into P9 already. Look out for Alan Kay on the Toro Rosso behind. We'll follow both of them just now. Here comes Lyronix to the inside, coming up to the Wall of Champions. T-Raw's into pit lane for McLaren, and a lovely little move from the championship leader puts him through, and we've got yellow. Oh, Alan Kay's in the Wall of Champions. Alan Kay into the Wall of Champions. Graham's gone into pit lane. Unsure what's happened to the Irishman. That could easily be a safety car. And that is the first retirement of the Grand Prix, and he's actually broke the wall there. Such was the impact. And it'll be interesting to see if we end up with a safety car on the back of that. Graham out of pit lane now on the medium compound tyres. Plenty going on there. Lyronic's getting past the Gort, and then Graham going into pit lane. Alan Kay, don't know if he was distracted by the Toro Rosso or if he caught the curb or something, but he's into the wall of champions and he's the first DNF. There's no safety car. They've got rid of that Alfa Romeo pretty quickly, as you see Lyronic's making his way past the other Renault of Fate Benfica before the turn 10 hairpin. Be interesting to see which one of them gets the DRS. I would imagine it'll be the Renault, as Spike, your race leader, comes into pit lane. Sean gets a penalty, so Jack now goes into the lead of the race. Medium tyres for the Mercedes. Now that's an interesting one. It makes me think maybe some of them are going for 2 stops here. Lighty's into pit lane as well. He's going for a set of medium compound tyres as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if a few of these guys going mediums are going for 2 stops here tonight, because that's an awful long way to take a set of medium compound tyres. 25 laps in total would be needed to take them out. Where is Spike's? Spike is actually behind Lyronix, so Lyronix has actually jumped the Mercedes by pitting a lap earlier, so the undercut in full effect there. 16 seconds the gap between Spike and the leader now, so it's about 17-18 seconds. Quite a short pit lane here, and Lyronix, despite having to make his way through the traffic, has picked up the net race lead here at the moment, as he makes his way past Crazy Legs now up towards the turn 10 hairpin. Gives the Haas a little bit of a squeeze so he can get his race in line, and that's him now up to 4th place. So Spike now has got it all to do to make up the place again and get back into the lead of this race. We go down the field one more time. You can see the Gort onto the back of his teammate here, coming down to the wall of champions in the turn 13-14 chicane, but no dice on that occasion. Meanwhile, Iceman onto the back of T-Raw, who's just picked up a penalty for that as well, cutting across the line. Oh, that was Lighty thumping the wall of champions on exit. Any damage to that McLaren? Yes, there's wing plate damage. If you look on the right hand side, his right, our left, that is missing a front wing end fence, so that could be a pit stop before long for Lighty, and he's just made a pit stop as well, so that's definitely not what he wants, and that is the worst thing that could have happened. Meanwhile, Spike has made his way through past Crazy Legs on those fresh tyres as he tries to chase down Lyronix, who's already got 2.5 seconds. Alan Kay in the chat, he says he was doing quite well there, but he says F it. You obviously don't need me to translate what that is, no matter what language you're speaking. He's obviously not too chuffed at that. I'm guessing from that he obviously just caught the curb to put him into the wall, unfortunately. So first retirement is Alan Kay, and that will mean that it's his second retirement of the season, having retired in China as well. He will not improve on the 12 points he's got so far this season. Meanwhile, look behind there. The Gort onto the back of Fate Benfica. T-Raw's coming through in that McLaren. It's Renault power, Renault power, Renault power. Then the Mercedes in the back of that Williams. Mick Kinda for you in the chat as well. Good to see you along as well, my friend. Hoping you can join us for the Project Cars League when it starts back up. I know you've signed up for reserves, but I'm hoping you can race quite often. As T-Raw goes to the outside of the Gort, coming up towards turns 3 and 4, but no dice on that one. The Gort's been on those tyres since the start of the race. He's on the hard compound. T-Raw's just put on a fresh set of mediums a couple of laps ago, and he's got Iceman in behind him, so you won't want to be hanging around too long. Navy's not far off the back. T-Raw goes by on the Gort quite easily there, so the Gort getting out of shape coming out of turn number 6 and 7, and the McLaren up into 8th place as we get Gypsy George getting a 10-second time penalty for cutting corners. That must have been a severe corner cut to get 10 seconds worth in one pop, as T-Raw right onto the back here of Fate Benfica. He's going to have DRS to assist him. The Portuguese driver is going to be a little bit defenceless here. Another 3 seconds for George as T-Raw goes to the outside into the braking zone, down that little bump. A nice move there from the McLaren. Gains 2 places in 1 lap. He is now up into 7th place and heading off after Crazy Legs, who still hasn't pitted. You've got a few drivers still to pit. Your race leader is Jack in the Mercedes, defending champion, 7 seconds up the road on Sean, who's in second. Remember, Jack is on medium compound tyres. Sean is on, Jack's on the hards, and Sean is on mediums. Navy is closing into the back of Sean. He's also on medium compound tyres, having started in 15th place. Then you've got Lyronix, net leader at the moment, having made his pit stop. He's a just about 12 seconds off the lead at this point. Spike is in. We've got a yellow flag in sector 3, and it's George who is out of the race. I'll jump on board and see if we can find out what's happened to the Williams on board with your race leader. And yep, the Wall of Champions claims another victim. Oh, Jack had to take it very easily through that last corner there because he thought he might clutch onto the back of that Williams. Meanwhile, both Sean and Navy into pit lane, so it's a battle of the teams now. What can the mechanics do? Spike picking up a 3-second time penalty. That could come back to haunt him later on. Let's look at Sean. He's underway. He's put on a set of the hard compound tyres. Navy's gone for another set of mediums, so that's a 2-stop strategy. And is he stuck in pit lane, or is it just glitching? He seemed to be stuck a little bit there, so that's cost him a lot of time. But he's gone for another set of medium compound tyres as Mays picks up a penalty. Don't ask me what the penalties are. I've not been able to keep up at all. It's not happening. But there we go, Navy out of pit lane, so he is definitely 2-stopping because that's another set of medium compound tyres, so he has to make another stop. You need to run, of course, at least 2 of the 3 compounds, and he's ran only medium tyres since the start. So Jack's still to pit, Crazy Legs and Benfica are still to pit, Mays is still to pit. The GOT has now pitted and gone on to a set of medium compound tyres, so it's Jack who leads. 11.5 seconds clear at the moment from Lyronics in second, who's got Spike now, having closed that gap up pretty rapidly. Onto the back of Lyronics, and up the inside he goes into turn 13 and 14. That's a nice move there from Spike to retake what is the net lead off the race. He's got DRS to assist him as well, coming down towards turn 1 to defend, but he's got a 3-second time penalty, excuse me, that will come into effect later on. Iceman just giving the Wall of Champions a bit of a love kiss there on the way out, having just passed Fate Benfica into the final corner, and he's now up into 6th position, so plenty going on here. Crazy Legs next up for the Williams, he's still to pit. Lyronics though trying to see if he can close back up, but Spike's got the bit between his teeth around this circuit. Yellow flag, and it's Graham who's now out of the session. Graham, and it's another one in the Wall of Champions. That is 3 cars into the Wall of Champions. It's 1999 all over again, when it was Schumacher, Hill and Villeneuve who collided with the wall. That's how it got its name, and we've had 3 victims there. Graham, George and Alan Kay have now ended up into the infamous wall and out of the race. And this is what we're saying in qualifying. Even if you're having a bad day, you want to keep going, because if more people do that over those tricky curbs in the final corner, you could easily have 10 runners left at the end of the race, and it could quite easily end up with some World Championship points in this race. Lyronics is kept within DRS range on the back of Spike. They're still closing up to the back of Jack ever so slightly as Crazy Legs makes his way into pit lane, having done 13 laps on those medium compound tyres. The American Haas team get to work for a set of hard compound tyres. He's going to try and take them to the end of the race, and a wing change as well, so there's been some damage to the front of that Haas, and he has had to change the front wing as well. So Crazy Legs is going to rejoin in 11th position, just ahead, just behind, sorry, of Mays. Oh, Crazy Legs has gone straight on, trying to push too much coming out of pit lane. Greasy track there, it's all full of rubbish, and he's managed to keep it going somehow and stay on the track. Lighty and Fate Benfica. Fate's trying to get back past. Lighty's just made a move there on fresh tyres. Fate's going to get back up the inside though, which is now the outside for the hairpin. Sean's in there as well on a fresh set of medium hard tyres, sorry. A little bit of bump through. Lighty gets a bit of a tank slapper as well. The Ferrari's going to sneak through. Fate Benfica will hold on to 6th place at the moment, but he's still to pit in this race. One of 3 drivers still to make a pit stop. The other 2 are your race leader Jack and Mays down in 10th position. And look at the carbon fibre on the outside of turn 14 at the Wall of Champions. There's wings there from an Alpha, a Toro Rosso, a Williams. I'm sure I've seen a bit of a McLaren wing there. And a nice move by Sean round the outside of turn 1, inside for turn 2. That's another lovely overtaking move. We've seen a few of them tonight now, and Sean makes his way up into 6th position. Meanwhile, the Gort has just made his way through on Yuzi, coming out of the final couple of corners, but The Toro Rosso is going to fight back into turn 1, but not able to do so. 9 laps on those tyres compared to 3 laps for the Gort, and the Renault up into 12th position. Navy right onto the back of this battle, so this is 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th, all pretty much in the one shot now, and we know Navy's quick on a fresh set of tyres. Benfica's on the oldest tyres of these 4 drivers. Sean pitted 3 laps ago, Lighty 7 laps ago, Navy 3 laps ago as well. Pit stop phase obviously cost the Racing Point driver. He was held up in pit lane. Alan Kay mentioning that Sean's got some wing damage as well, so that's not going to help the Ferrari later on, but he's managing to stay out in front, although he's just picked up a penalty for doing that. Alan, I did see you mentioning about commentary. I don't think I'm going to have a chance to get you in the party chat, but if you are able to, I wouldn't mind a bit of a penalty update in the chat if you could do that for me, buddy. That would be fantastic, because there's plenty of people with penalties. I know Spike's got one, for example, which could come back into effect later on in the race. So if you're able to do that for me, Alan, that would be absolutely brilliant. Yuzi's off the track now and out of the race, and again it's the wall of champions. That's the 4th driver in there. Both Toro Rossos have hit that wall. Navy, there he goes, he's managed to get through on Lighty, so finally getting that move done. Now let's see the front wing. Yeah, you can see Lighty's still got that wing damage there, so that's going to be making that understeer like an Asda shopping trolley. Meanwhile, Navy's got a great run on Fate Benfica, who got all out of shape coming out of turn 9, and Navy's made up 2 places within sector 2 alone, and he's now got DRS to attack the back of that Ferrari down towards turn 13 and 14. This should be a bit of a slam dunk for the Racing Point car. Up the inside he goes. Sean sticks to the racing line. He's going to make him take the narrow line, but he's able to come back across a little bit, take a better line, and through he goes. He's on the medium compound. He does need to pit again, so he really does need to get an absolute budge on if he wants to get some good points here, but that puts Navy up into P6. Meanwhile, the Gort has just got past on Mays under DRS for 11th place, so the Renault just about back into the points. You can see Crazy up ahead. Look at all the carbon fibre on the outside of turn 14. It's an absolute scrapyard down there at the moment. Going on just now. Fate Benfica just picking up a 3-second time penalty. We're back with what is the net lead of the race. They're still 8 and a bit seconds off of Jack, who's still not pitted in this race yet, but these two are your race leaders on net value. Spike, who's sat in pole position, Lyronics in second, and they're still technically 1-2 on the road, but will those medium tyres last to the end of this race? They've still got 17 laps to go, including the one they're on, as we've now gone over halfway distance. It's a long way to go. I wonder if they are maybe 2-stopping in this race. Jack will certainly be hoping they're 2-stopping, because that would play exactly into his hands much later on if he can do that. Coming through turns 3 and 4 there, we can see them coming through. Just having a quick look through the chat just to see if I've missed anything. Three-second penalties for Spike, Jack, Mays and Navy. I'm sure Benfica's got enough to take him to Narnia, so I've seen a few. No offence to our Portuguese viewers here tonight, but he has ended up quite a few penalties, I do believe, unfortunately. Still not pitted yet. Him, Mays and Jack, the only 3 still not to pit. You can see Lighty with his wing damage still trying to keep up. And Sean has got wing damage. Yeah, you can actually see it there on the Ferrari. Look at that. Same side. It's on the right hand side of the car. Our left as we're looking towards it. And he's missing that front wing end face. Meanwhile, Lighty, who's got the exact same bit of front wing missing, is going to go the long way round the hairpin, late on the brakes, but can't get the power down on the exit. But now he's got DRS, but so will Fate Benfica coming down the back straight. So who's got the battery up more? Slipstream helping the McLaren up to over 207 and 8 miles an hour, and hard onto the brakes we go, and Lighty has got the move done. Had to take a bit extra chicane there just to make sure he got the corner done. Didn't pick up a penalty on that occasion. 6-second penalties for Yuzi, Benfica, Sean, Lighty and T-Raw. So there's going to be a bit of jumbling about at the end of this race. That is definitely for sure. The only one in the top end of the standings at the moment without a penalty is this man, your championship leader, Lyronics. Oh, Lyronix does have a 3-second penalty. Oh, there we go. So that's actually now means that they're together on track and in the point. Okay. So they both got a 3-second time penalty. George has got 16 seconds worth, but he is out of the race now, so not going to be too much of an issue there. Mays has came into pit lane, and that is Jack, your race leader, into pit lane as well. We need to jump back though, because that was Spike right up against the wall as Lyronix attacks. So this is now the battle for the lead properly. Indeed, as Bruno says, thank you for the penalty updates, Alan. Any more of those towards the end of... Oh, goodness me, what happened to Lyronix there as I looked down? That was a strange one. But he's managed to hold the car anyway. But yeah, if you can keep us up to date with any of those towards the end of the race, Alan, that would be much appreciated indeed, my friend. Thank you very much for doing that. Jack back out onto track on a set of medium tyres, and he's in 4th place, right behind T-Raw, who's only just up the road there. You can see the McLaren just up ahead. So you'd expect he'll probably be through pretty quickly. Lighty is into pit lane. They're going to change the front wing on that McLaren. Another set of medium tyres go on to his car. So I wonder if that means he started on hard tyres, I believe. Yellow flag sector free, and it is Crazy Legs in the wall, just past the wall of champions, but it is another victim of the final 2 corners, and that is a completely missing front wing for the Haas, and that is going to be another pit stop for Crazy in a moment's time. Jack already up to P3, much better run on fresh tyres out of the hairpin, and even before DRS he's got the move done back into P3. He is 8.3 seconds off the lead. You'll get a yellow flag somewhere in sector 1. See if we can catch what that is. It's disappeared now, so we need to just jump back, because here's the leaders as T-Raw comes into pit lane for his second pit stop of the race. So another pit stop for McLaren. And he's going to drop down the field. Another set of medium tyres onto that car. And he's going to come out... I would say he's going to come out in P6, which is going to be pretty decent for him as well. In fact, Sean's just gone ahead of him, so that's not the greatest. League standings, Bruno, as mentioned, if you go to Twitter, it's at TTL_F1. You'll be able to find the standings there. But that would be your best place to see them. This is streamed directly through the PlayStation 4, so I'm not using anything like a PC or laptop where I can use OBS to kind of put any overlays over the top. So if you have a look there on the Twitter page, you'll be able to find the details. Give the league a follow while you're there. You can even follow TTG itself, TTG Gaming Esports, and that has a link to all the leagues here on TTTV, which includes TTL F1, TTL F2 on a Tuesday night, which is in the Formula 2 cars, TTFL, which is tomorrow night as well, and coming back soon on Saturday nights will be TTP cars, which is run by myself, be commentated on by the fantastic James Head as well, so do look out for that coming back on Saturday evenings. Got brand new championship, 2 championships in one night, as T-Raw and Sean are having a ding dong out at the final corner. Sean's gone for pit lane, so that wing damage has been too much for the Ferrari to cope with. They're going to put a set of mediums onto that as well, so he's going to carry on very shortly and see what you can do. But 2 championships for the Project Cars League. If you do want to sign up for that, you can still do so. Follow myself at Andy81287 on Twitter, or follow the page, which is at TT_PCars, if you wish to sign up for that. Project Cars 2 in the PlayStation 4, available Saturdays at 8:30. Get involved. 2 championships in the one night. The first one, I love it, it's called Renault Roulette. You want to know more? Go check out the Twitter page. You want to sign up? Give us a shout. Back to the front, and look at this though, the leaders. That was Mays trying to stay out of the way of the leaders there with the blue flags, and Lyronix is right onto the back here off Spike. DRS to help him, and it is so close, he's nearly pushing him down towards turn 1, but that Mercedes has got a good bit of grunt between it, and he manages to hold on for now. Lighty has just drifted by on the gore under DRS as well, excuse me, and coming up here towards turns 3 and 4, and Lyronix doing everything he can to keep the pressure on that Mercedes. Spike's got, good experience, and he's very known, and Lyronix picks up a penalty, and that could make the difference, because if I understand it at the moment, that is 3 seconds for Spike and 6 seconds for Lyronix. But look who's flew up in a matter of 3 laps. It is Jack, on the medium tyres, and he's already within a second of Lyronics. Fate Benfica's finally pitted. He's gone for a set of soft compound tyres. That's definitely an interesting one. But the lead pair, 17 laps for Lyronics, 15 laps for Spike. They're really going to be struggling on tyres for these last 11 or so laps to go. Here goes the racing point to the outside into the final chicane. Can he get the move done? No, he's gone for pit lane. So he's making a second stop. Spike picks up another penalty, and at the moment this race is set up for Jack to take a fantastic victory, doing exactly what Spike did last week, going on the hard compound tyres to start the race, then switching to mediums, keeping a good gap and a good pace, and he's looking good at the moment. Don't want to curse it, but with 11 laps to go, if you include the one they're on, he is right behind his teammate on fresh tyres that can go at the end of this race. You'd expect Spike will have to pit if he wants to have a chance at sticking on the podium. And here comes Jack. This is going to be a move for the lead of the race. I doubt Spike's going to battle it too much because it's his teammate and he's on fresher tyres, and Jack retakes the lead of this race. Spike getting a bit of a tank slapper on the exit there, manages to hold on, and he's in second place, but he might be in pit lane before much longer. You can see there's the Renault there, which is of Fate Benfica. He's on the soft compound tyres in 9th. And the Gort, who's just been lapped, is in 10th. So Renault on a more than treble their points tally. They've only had 1 point so far this season. And at the moment they're on for 3 points just now. So that'll definitely be interesting if they can hold that to the end of the race. Fate's got 9 seconds to catch up to Sean, who's just made a second pit stop onto a set of medium compound tyres. Maze isn't too far behind the Gort. Crazy Legs, having pitted for that new wing, is closing up as well. There's Navy into pit lane for his what's that, his second stop, I do believe now, is it? Yep, second pit stop for Navy. Spike has carried on, but he's already at nearly 2 seconds down. Soft compound tyres go on to the racing point. That puts T-Raw back up to 4th on his return to TTL. And let's have a look at the position changes then. So, as it stands at the moment, Navy, who just rejoins from P5 on a set of soft compound tyres, has made up 10 places, having started in P15. Jack's up 2. T-Raw's up 6, having started in 10th. Fate Benfica is up 7, having started 16th at the back. And he's hit the wall! Just as I came on to look at it, he's slid wide and hit the wall, but he looks like he's got away with it. There's no visible damage to that Renault, and he's going to be able to carry on for the meantime. Biggest losers, Crazy Leg is down 6 places in 12th, trying to catch on to the back of Maisie's Ferrari here, coming into the final corners. He's had a bit of a trek here this evening. 2 pit stops, we've seen him minus a front wing at one point as well. Had a tricky time in Spain with a few spins as Spike finally makes a pit stop, and Crazy goes up the inside into turn number 1, and he's now took over 11th place. Can he catch up to the Gort? 5 seconds is the gap. Spike's onto a set of soft compound tyres. Lyronics has moved back up into second place now on his medium compound tyres, but look at the gap. It's 16 seconds to the man in the lead, who's already going through turns 8 and 9 before Lyronics has finished sector 2. But now Lyronics has got slightly fresher tyres, and we'll see if he can make any inroads on that gap. T-Raw up to 3rd now, got a 6-second gap over Spike, who's in 4th but now on the soft compound tyres. Navy in 5th, 5 seconds down on Spike, again on soft compound tyres. We need to watch out now towards the end of this race who's going to pick up the bonus point for the fastest lap of the race, because we've seen a battle all the way to the flag last week between TTG White and TTG Sean for the fastest lap. They put on soft tyres with a couple of laps to go, so keep an eye on what happens there. I just want to take this quick moment to thank each and every one of you that has been watching tonight. The figures have been, at the moment, where it says we've got 18 people watching, and it's been in double figures pretty much since the start of the broadcast. I want to thank each and every single one of you for tuning in, sharing it if you have done. If you haven't, please do let people know about this league, get it to come join in and enjoy the action on a Thursday night here on TTTV. But thank you very much to each and every one of you for joining us here tonight, especially to the Portuguese fans joining us us to cheer on Fate Benfica especially. I've been very vocal in the chat. I don't understand Portuguese unfortunately, but it's been absolutely fantastic to see all the support for Fate here tonight, and indeed for the other drivers as well. I really hope you're enjoying the commentary and the action that you're seeing here tonight. We really appreciate your support, and we hope you can hit that subscribe button as well if you haven't done so already. Lap 28 of 35. Jack leads. It's 15.5 seconds. Came down a little bit. Lyronix is getting quicker. He's got the Ferrari ahead, which is of Mays, who is a lap down. Mays, Crazy Legs and the Gort are all a lap down at this point. The only 3 drivers to have been lapped. So Jack leads 15 and a bit seconds up front. From Lyronix in second, T-Ron, he's returned to TTL in a McLaren, currently on for a podium, 6 seconds behind Lyronix, but he's got the ever fast approaching Spike coming up behind on that fresh set of tyres. Let's have a look at the fastest lap of the race just now, and it is currently this man, Navy, who's just gone across the line there. Not his fastest lap that time round, but he's done a 1 minute 10.145. Meanwhile, Crazy is facing the wrong way again. That's the second time tonight that he has been facing the wrong direction, and that is down at, I believe, turn number 6 and 7, just before the second straight. And DRS, he's retired from the session, so that is the 5th retirement and the first one that's not been because of the Wall of Champions here tonight. And the AI car pulls across to the side of the road, and they should hopefully be able to get rid of that without too much hassle and without the need of a safety car, although a safety car would really make things interesting for the end of this race. But nope, the yellow flag's disappeared already, so the marshal's doing very quick work to get rid of that Haas, and we're down to 11 drivers. So if we were to have one more retirement, everybody that finishes the race would score at least 1 World Championship point. At the moment though, the 25 for winning are going to Jack in the Mercedes. Started from 3rd on the grid in the hard tyre. He's done a fantastic job of keeping close enough to Spike and Lyronix in the initial stages. Took the lead when they both pitted, made himself a decent gap, and then when he came into pit lane for fresh tyres, when the 2 ahead of Lyronix and Spike were on older medium tyres, he was able to close up very quickly indeed and took over the lead before they both came into pit lane. You can see the gap to Lyronix is kind of stabilised at around 15.5 to 16 seconds, so unless something drastic happens in the closing laps, it looks like your defending champion is finally going to get off the mark in terms of victories here this evening in TTL for season 14. We'll see what happens as we go on. Spike though is the man to keep an eye on. Can he steal that final podium away from T-Raw, who's just returned, as I say, to TTL? And either way, it's going to be a great result for the McLaren driver. Starting in 10th, P4 is still going to be a fantastic result, but I'm sure he'd love to be up on that podium. Spike, though, is wringing the neck on that car. That's a 1 minute 10.7, but still not close enough to Navy's fastest lap, which is 6 times quicker than anyone else's. So it just shows how much pace he has had in that car. And remember, he's came through the field 10 places gained, started P15 in this race, so he's done an absolutely fantastic job. But you can see there, everybody except for Fate Benfica, Mays and Jack have made 2 stops here tonight. Those 3 that have only made 1 stop started on the hard compound tyres, and especially for your race leader, they're able to keep enough pace in that early stage with the harder compound to hold on, and now looks as if he's going to be taking victory here tonight as Navy flings it across the curbs. Spike's within 1.3 seconds. I think he's going to be stealing away the podium from the McLaren. We're going to follow this at the moment as everybody else is sort of spaced out. Your retirements from the race, we just seen Crazy Legs a few laps ago having had a spin at turns 6 and 7. It was his second time in the wall. We've seen him catching the wall down the front straight out of the final corner at early doors as well. Uzi was out at the Wall of Champions, as was Graham, George and Alan Kay. Alan Kay hitting it with such force it actually put a hole in the wall when we were on board with him. So, you know, if there's anything you can say, Alan, you put you done a Nigel Mansell at Phoenix in '93, you put a hole in the wall, and if you don't know that reference, the hole in the wall gang, and Mansell in '93, then you're probably too young. I'm showing my age now. But Spike is definitely catching up. Alan's given us a time penalty, so 3 seconds for Jack, Iceman, Maze and Navy. 6 seconds for Crazy, Gort, Spike, Lyronix, Lighty and T-Raw. 9 seconds for Sean. So there's a few more in there, I'm sure, as well. Fate Benfica's not been mentioned in there, but we will see at the end of the race who picks up what penalties. We'll need to keep an eye on the timings at the end. Spike and T-Raw both on the same with 6 seconds, so that means that this is a straight fight at the moment between these two for the final podium. We're on to lap 33 of 35, coming into the closing stages of tonight's race. Fate's got 6 seconds as well. There we go. I knew there was one missing in there. So closing stages now, and Jack is on his way to victory here at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. He's tamed the tight confounds off the track, 2.7 miles around, and he might be taking a dip in the lake, you never know, to celebrate victory here as the defending champion kickstarts his season with a victory here tonight. T-Raw's now up to 9 seconds, so Spike doesn't need to make an overtake now. As long as he stays within 3 seconds and doesn't pick up another penalty of his own, then he is still going to take over P3, but I'm sure he'll want to do it on the road as Navy picks up another time penalty. Now that puts Navy on to... how many is he's on to 6 seconds now, and Iceman's only on 3, so Navy wants to be careful, because another 3 seconds with Iceman picking up none, Navy could lose out on P5, so I need to keep an eye on that. So 6 seconds for Navy, 3 seconds for Iceman, that's 5th and 6th, that could come into effect. We're on to the penultimate lap of the race, and Spike with these fresh compound soft tyres is right onto the back of T-Raw in the McLaren. He's going to make that the widest papaya orange car you've ever seen, except for the 1970s Can-Am car. And yes, when you come into commentaries with me, you get a history lesson to go with it. Up towards turn number 5, heading towards turn 6 and 7, hard on the brakes, down to 3rd gear. He's going to have DRS down here. Can he get a good run out of this corner? Just easy on the throttle. Now gets the power down. It's not the longest of straights here. Is he going to have a dive up the inside? No, he thinks better off it. Probably the wise thing to do there to avoid any hassle. And now coming up to the hairpin, yellow flag somewhere in sector 3. We're not going to look at that at the moment. Hopefully it's not your race leader. Up the inside, can he get the move done? T-Raw gives him the space. Probably left the door open a bit too wide, but he gets a good exit. But now Spike's going to have DRS down the back straight. The yellow flag has disappeared, so no issues up ahead. And here goes Spike to the outside line, DRS wide open, and it's an easy move for the Mercedes into the final chicane, and he is now through and up into P3. Still going to be a fantastic return for T-Raw though, with P4 having started in 10th, so although it's not quite a podium, it's still going to be some solid points, and he's going to try and fight back here coming into turn 2, but the soft compound tyres on Spike's Mercedes are just going to be the difference. We're on to the final lap here in Canada, and well, we've not seen much of him during the race. I didn't mention at the start to keep an eye on him though, starting on the hard compound tyres from P3, and Jack has proved me to be exactly right, and season 13 champion, dominated the season last year, is finally going to come through and take that first victory of season 14. He's having a wee weave down the back straight through the final corner, missed the wall of champions for the last time, up towards the pit wall. Your race winner here in Canada is Jack in the Mercedes with a fantastic one-stop strategy. He wins in Montreal, 25 points for him, fantastic stuff. Here comes Lyronix through the final corner, that's 2 firsts and 2 seconds for the championship leader. He is going to be increasing, he's gotten T-Raw's got back past on Spike, and Spike's, oh no, T-Raw's on the wall, T-Raw on the wall. Spike just picked up a penalty there, which meant he would have held on to P3 in the McLaren, but hits the wall. Spike takes P3, T-Raw on P4 having made that mistake there. At the end, Navy's going to jump up to P4 though, because of the penalties to T-Raw. He just loses out because he lost time there at the end, so not ideal. The Gort's finished in 10th, Mace has finished in 11th, Lighty coming through here to finish on the road in 7th, but he's got quite a few penalties, so we'll need to see how that is, because Sean's right behind him. So Lighty across in 7th, but then jumped by Sean. So Sean's 7th, Lighty is 8th, and the one that most of the people in the stream have been waiting for, it's Fate Benfica coming through. He is going to take 9th place, points on the board for Renault, 9th and 10th. But your victor here in Montreal in the Mercedes with a one-stop strategy from the hard tyre to the medium, it is the defending TTL F1 champion. It is Jack who takes the 25 points here tonight. We'll run you through the official, unofficial standings in just a moment, and it's going to be the first time I've ever seen the Honduras flag up on the podium, and yes, I do know what that flag is. It just shows you how sad I am. There you go, Mercedes 1-3, but Lyronix increased his championship lead. That'll be for the now, having finished ahead of his championship rival Spike. Navy picks up the fastest lap, so that means we've now had 4 different fastest lap winners in the first 4 races. Jack, Lyronix, White and now Navy picked up the 4 fastest laps so far. Spike got the pole position, but he's his 2nd of the season. So Jack wins from Lyronix in 2nd, Spike in 3rd, Navy picks up 4th due to that end part. I think Iceman actually got 5th, Hero dropping down to 6th, 15 seconds worth of penalties. He won't be too chuffed at that, but it's still a good return with some solid points from 10th. Sean in 7th, Lighty in 8th, Fate Benfica in 9th, the Gore in 10th, Maze rounds out the field in 11th, DNS for Crazy Legs, who had a few crashes and retired out after his 2nd one at turns 6 and 7. Uzi, Graham, George and Alan Kay all hit the turn 13-14 wall of champions, and look at that, apart from one of the DNFs, nobody picks up the coveted Andy Campbell no penalty award tonight, so I get to keep it all for myself because I didn't have any penalties. There you go. Bruno in the chat, great race, great commentary, thank you very much for that, my friend. Hope to have you back next week. TTFL will be on tomorrow night as well, so there's racing 4 nights a week normally here on TTTV, so do hit the subscribe button and get the bell icon hit so you're notified any time that we do go live. Now normally at this point here we would normally stop the stream, start a new one and go into commentators corner. However, I've been doing this solo tonight and it's been a long day at work, so there's not going to be a commentators corner tonight. Hopefully be back next week when myself and Kieran should be back with me in the commentary box as well. Next week we head to the Red Bull Ring in Austria. We're doing the we're doing the odd numbers for this season, 11 rounds, so we miss out France and we head to Austria next for the Red Bull Ring for the Austrian Grand Prix. It'll be 8 o'clock next week as always, Thursday night at 8 for TTL F1. As mentioned earlier, you can follow the league on Twitter at TTL_F1. Championship standings and driver of the day will be posted up on there some point between tonight and tomorrow, so you can keep up to date with that. My driver of the day, if you're interested by the way, would have to be Jack. Fantastic strategy, done the exact same thing his teammate did last week in Catalonia. Hard tyres to medium, made it work absolutely fantastic. But we'll see who gets voted driver of the day. It is a driver vote in our PSN chat that we have, so check the Twitter page and you can check that out. While you're there, look out for all the other TTG TTTV leagues as well, TTL F2, TTFL, TTP cars, and you can even follow myself. My Twitter tag is at Andy81287. But that is it for this evening. Thank you very much to everybody that joined us this evening. It was an absolute blast having so many people watching. Really enjoyed that fantastic race. Great to see so many messages in the chat as well. Fantastic stuff. Thank you very much. Hope to see you back again soon. But until then, my name is Andy Campbell. Until next time, take care of yourself and I'll see you again soon. Ta-da.